You know, when you think about holding wealth, you probably picture something um, massive and solid, like a commercial building maybe. But picture that real estate like an enormous industrial battery.
Right, it stores a tremendous amount of financial energy.
Exactly. But if you actually need to tap into that power right now, you can't just flip a switch. You have to hire inspectors, fill out endless paperwork, and wait months just to safely hook up the cables and drain it.
Yeah, and in the fast-moving digital age, businesses just don't have months.
They need an instant power grid. So, welcome to the deep dive. Today, our mission is exploring a stack of research that argues Bitcoin's true revolutionary purpose isn't about, buying a cup of coffee. It's about acting as a global network for something known as pristine collateral. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, to really grasp this, we have to rethink economic growth entirely. It isn't just driven by consumer payments, it's fueled by what the sources call the collateral-capital continuum.
Which is essentially a perpetual economic engine, right?
Exactly. You pledge an asset, your collateral, to borrow funds or capital, so you don't actually have to sell off your wealth. When a society can convert collateral into working capital rapidly, money circulates much faster.
And that velocity is the true engine that drives national GDP.
Yes. But the problem is our current system is just bogged down.
Right. Going back to that battery analogy, the legacy system we use to do this is incredibly slow.
Extremely slow. I mean, traditional collateral, like real estate, gold, or fine art, it suffers from constant friction.
Like physical upkeep and entropy?
Right. Buildings have plumbing that breaks. Gold requires physical vaulting and chemical purity tests. And beyond the physical issues, trying to borrow against these assets forces you to navigate the old 5 C's of credit.
Which is just a totally opaque system.
Oh, completely. Lenders subjectively judge your character or capacity to repay. That subjective process takes weeks, if not months.
Wait, I have to challenge this premise, though. Real estate has been the absolute bedrock of global wealth for centuries. Are we genuinely arguing that a physical, tangible skyscraper is somehow a worse foundation for borrowing money than a decentralized network of code?
Well, when speed is the ultimate currency, yes. Think about the researcher's example of a modern AI company trying to open computing centers globally at light speed.
Right, they need capital fast.
Exactly. If that company's wealth is locked in a skyscraper, they cannot wait 3 months for an opaque title search and a subjective appraisal just to secure a loan to build a facility in Tokyo.
Because they'd just be outpaced instantly.
They would. Bitcoin acts as a high-speed conversion network. It allows that company to pledge its stored value and raise local capital in days anywhere on Earth.
Because it qualifies as pristine collateral, which, that implies a pretty high bar.
A very high bar. To be pristine, an asset must follow 3 strict rules. First, it needs 247 global price discovery.
Meaning everyone everywhere agrees on its exact value at any given second.
Right. Second, it requires instant public verifiability. And third, it must have access to the highest possible pool of global liquidity.
And I guess most digital networks fail there because they're, closed off or controlled by a single company.
Yeah, but Bitcoin succeeds because no state or private entity can obscure its open protocol.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because it's an open protocol, it completely bypasses the subjective gatekeeping of traditional finance.
Oh, absolutely.
Take KYC, know your customer rules, where a bank spends weeks digging into your background, essentially trying to figure out if they can trust you. With a cryptographic protocol, the system doesn't need to trust your character. The math physically proves you hold the asset instantly.
Which paves the way for collateral-first banking. Imagine needing business capital. Instead of agonizing over periodic audits, you simply pledge your verifiable digital collateral.
Wow.
A smart contract instantly triggers a line of credit, delivering local stable coins directly into your account.
And those are just digital tokens pegged to a fiat currency, like the dollar, right?
Exactly. And the bank doesn't even need to worry about your business failing, because they are continuously monitoring that collateral-to-capital ratio in real time, 24/7.
So what does a shift like this mean for the listener's traditional investments? Because the predictions in these sources are pretty stark.
They really are. It forces a total reevaluation of what makes an asset valuable.
Because the argument is that real estate values could basically collapse back down to just their utility value, meaning what a building is actually worth just for shelter or office space.
Right, because they won't be used as giant financial piggy banks anymore. And traditional bonds could face total obsolescence compared to this ultra-secured digital credit.
Interestingly, gold actually retains its value in this model, specifically because of its friction, right? Its slowness makes it a traditional, stable store of value.
It does. But if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
there's a massive warning here for governments. If regulators try to slap outdated identity checks on the collateral itself, tax it heavily, or restrict citizen access, they effectively trap their population in an analog anchor.
Which kills that money velocity we talked about.
Exactly, and systematically erodes their own national wealth.
So we are looking at a fundamental shift from slow analog wealth to a real-time digital credit rail. And this matters directly to you because the speed at which your assets can convert to capital is going to dictate your wealth preservation in the 21st century.
Absolutely.
Which brings us back to that giant, slow-draining battery. Think about it. If traditional assets like real estate and stocks eventually lose their financial premium and shrink down to just their basic utility value, how much of the wealth in the physical world around you today is actually just a mirage created by the extreme inefficiencies of our old credit system?